All right, let's talk sports.
Oh my God, I'm so glad that wasn't me in that clip.
I remember her just passing me the ball and like, I will dive and break my neck before I let that ball land out of bounds. Sports is here. Fast Friends is here. I'm Lisa Leslie.
I'm Kelley O'Hara, and we are here together.
Yeah, we're fast friends.
We're fast friends.
But sports is really the thing I think we have to lean in even more right now. Like, this is the thing that I feel, the reason why I played, because I really loved the way it made people feel like in the stands. It was those moments of like, it wasn't about, what separates us. It was just more about what brings us together.
100%.
And I feel with my little broken heart right now that that's the silver lining. It's still sports, and that's still just working towards togetherness, right? Finding common ground.
Yeah.
And through sports, we're able to do that.
And I feel like it's leaning into what unifies us, what brings us together. And to me, that's love.
Yeah.
And not hate or fear.
Yeah, for sure.
And I hope that is what we can move forward in. Yeah. We'll persist.
All right, let's talk sports.
The New York City Marathon was this weekend. And you want to know?
Did you run?
No. Lisa.
I know, but were you on the sideline? Like, how you take a few steps with people, wave a flag? No?
No. I mean, I ran from my bike to the sideline or whatever.
The curb?
Yeah, the curb, the barrier, to try to find friends and cheer them on. But the energy of this past weekend was so awesome. And it's just like such a wonderful feeling. And I feel like that's kind of what I want to like bottle up and take with me and lean into. But it was so like New York City Marathon is like no other. I've cheered on people one time before, and that was Upper East Side area. This time I was in Brooklyn, and I was just, Sana and I got on bikes, went across, and just, I had one friend running, another family friend who was running, and so my goal was to cheer both of them on and to see them at least once.
Yeah. So you were like riding your bike around?
Yeah. So it was basically like the best way to do it is to maximize the times I can cheer for these people is to be on a bike, right? Like go see them
right ahead.
And the goal was to try to. So my friend Brianna was running, and I wanted to see her multiple times, and we tried to see her the first time, and we went off of what the app was saying she was tracking, and we're like, I'm watching it. Sonnet's like, I'm watching the app, and then all of a sudden she's past us. And I was like, oh my God, how did we miss her,
So you got to go further ahead.
Yeah. And so I was like, get on the bike. We got to go, we got to bomb it to the next location. So we did that. And then we tracked her. I was tracking her again in the app. And I was like, oh my God, we missed her again. I was like,
are you serious?
How is this possible? I could not believe it. I was so disappointed. And I was also like, oh my God, I've let her down as a friend. Like I didn't get to cheer, get to give her a high five. And then I looked at her location, like actually like find my friend's location on my phone. Yeah. And it was behind. So she hadn't actually passed. So I thought that she had passed based on her the New York City application, New York City Marathon application.
It was off a little.
It was off. It was tracking. It was like
so
tracking her ahead.
So you were actually two spots ahead of her now.
Yeah. So then thankfully I looked. Yeah. Saw that she was behind. Was able to track her as she came up, and we got to see her. And then so that was.
Did you make a video?
Fun. Yeah. It was so fun. And then I jumped on my bike, went and saw a family friend who's running the whole family was here to cheer him on. That was so fun to see them. Back to the other location. And then at that point, it's just like a party in the street. So it was a good time. It's incredible. Yeah. Have you ever run a marathon?
Girl.
Have you ever run a
3
half?
miles is the most.
Really?
3 miles is not easy for 6'5".
That's how much you ran in a game, and that's your max.
That's my max.
Fair enough.
Start to finish.
Yeah.
I got you.
Okay.
A few water breaks, but this body's not made for that type of distance.
No.
It really is a certain genetic thing too. I think a certain like height and weight really looks good out there running.
For sure.
You can be too tall for a woman anyway. I don't know if you can be too short, but you definitely can be too tall. Like to really be able to have that endurance.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine you running a marathon.
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll go fast.
Exactly.
Push the ball.
Stick to
forget
tennis.
we're going to kick some soccer balls.
Yeah, we are. Exactly.
Coming up
Kansas City, yeah.
So
Stay
I'm so
tuned.
excited though about soccer.
I know. We're in
playoffs.
We're in beat everybody season.
Ooh, let's
you know
go.
what I'm saying? Somebody's winner's going to take all.
Somebody's going to take it
where I was
all.
at.
So what are you thinking? Okay, first let's get into it because we see that it's playoff times. We saw the matchups, which were kind of as you predicted, Coach Kelley.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
I didn't know if Bay would make it in, but they ended up being
You said
seventh.
Bay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was questionable about Bay and Louisville. Obviously,
Right.
Louisville didn't make it.
Right.
But Bay made it in, and they made it 7th as opposed to 8 because Chicago fell down the table, and they were the last spot in for the playoffs.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you see these different matchups,
Yeah.
like what do you think? Like, is there what's the highlight to you? And then when I looked at, you talked a lot about the Orlando Pride. Like, do they have the possibility of like raising that trophy at the end?
I mean, I guess
everybody has a possibility.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, beat everybody's season. Winner takes all. This is.
So you have a prediction yet or not yet?
I mean, I am obviously going to go with Gotham.
Okay.
Like I think that Gotham has all the pieces and are peaking at the right time to win the championship.
And you also have talked about their coaching, like the style, the fact that they've been able to move their pieces around, so they're sort of playoff ready because they have had the experience of playing different players in different positions.
Yep.
Which really makes a lot of sense.
For sure. But I mean, when it comes to these different matchups, I think the biggest thing to look at is what did these teams do individually, like team to team, defensively throughout the season.
Yeah.
So the thing that stands out to me is Orlando and Gotham both have the lowest goals against. So they both only let in 20 goals against, which is a really good defensive number.
Because it's like basketball. Usually in basketball, the number 1, number 2 defensive teams throughout the whole regular season usually are the teams who are your top teams.
This is what I'll point out on the other side of things. So
Mm-hmm.
Gotham, Orlando, good job to them. Defensively, they look very strong. And I really do think when it comes to playoffs, defense wins championships.
Okay.
I just do. I think you can have a potent offense, but the reality is if you don't let the other team score, you got a chance of winning. That's it. You got the good defense, Orlando, Gotham. Bad defensively is Bay.
Oh, Bay.
They've let in 41 goals. They have a negative 10 goal differential.
Ooh.
That doesn't bode well for them against Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Spirit has a very strong offense. They've put in 51 goals, the most other than Kansas City. Kansas City has scored 57.
Okay.
So just going off of total offense versus total defense,
Washington should
beat Bay.
Yeah.
However, Bay to me is kind of like this dark horse. They do have some offensive powerhouses. Yeah. And they're a new team, right? They don't have this history and or I want to say culture to fall back on. Mm-hmm. So it's like, can their individual players show up in big moments?
Which sometimes can be scary because they can be that team that really has nothing to lose, right?
For sure. Absolutely not. And I think that as a team that's in their first season of this league, this is Bay's inaugural season. To make playoffs is a huge achievement as a team coming into this league in their first season. So I think that I know after their reactions from this past weekend of like celebrating making playoffs, that sort of thing, I know they're excited about that. But now, can they put the pieces together to go beyond just a quarterfinal berth in this playoffs? So I mean, of the matchups, you would think that Washington for sure is going to beat Bay. But this is actually the game I think is going to be most interesting.
Really? Oh,
this and Kansas City versus North Carolina.
And what's your thoughts on those?
North Carolina beat Kansas City. Kansas City only lost 3 times this season.
Yes.
And North Carolina was one of the teams that beat them.
Okay.
They play similarly in that a lot of their play is very central. But I do think that Kansas City has the offensive threat of Chawinga, and I don't think North Carolina is organized enough on defense, specifically their back line, to neutralize her.
And when you talk about Chawinga, just her ability to strike the ball, to take over, to get points on the board.
It's more so when you're playing against Chawinga, the way Kansas City plays is they look to go long, knock it down. Mm-hmm. So they look to hit their front line, knock the ball down to their midfield line, and play a one-time ball through. Because Kansas City knows that's how they want to play, Chawinga's timing of her run, that's what catches defenses off guard, right? Okay. So she's able to take advantage of the fact that everyone on Kansas City knows when this ball is coming back, even though you might think like you might be reading the play of, oh, this player's going to take a touch or maybe play it out wide, whatever. No, they're putting it in behind because they know as a team, this is the way that we want to play. Oh, wow. This is our game plan. So that being said, I don't think that North Carolina is savvy enough with their back line to be able to anticipate those.
Slow her down?
Yeah, those type of plays. But hey, I'm telling you now. So,
but in soccer,
anticipate.
There is a 1-game elimination, correct?
Yes.
So how does that differ from, like in basketball, we could have the best 2 out of 3, but for it being a single elimination, how much is, if you guys even say this, we say like home court advantage. Yeah. Is that such a thing in soccer also?
So I also looked at this stat. I think it's 41% of wins came from home games throughout the season. So yes.
Wait, what's that percentage?
41. So it's like, and then I don't know in terms of losses and then ties. But again, it's not of the teams that you would think would have home field advantage, right? Like a Portland, they have a really good attendance and fan base. They're, playing at that stadium is electric. Okay. And you would say like, if anyone in this league is going to have home field advantage, it's going to be Portland. But you know what? They're playing at Gotham, so they don't have that. So it's of all of the teams, they can't rely on that. Sorry, guys. You got to come play us in New York in front of our fans.
All right.
And try to win, which I don't think they're going to do.
But you talked about, their depth, their lineup. Have you seen or felt any difference with your team from like last year at this time when you look at, you guys making the run and winning? How similar is the team?
Yeah, different? Last year it's interesting because I think we're in very different places with Gotham because last year we squeaked into playoffs. Mm-hmm. We were the 6th place team after the end of regular season. Right. And we made it through on goal differential, not even on points.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay. So it was
different placing.
Much different. This year we're 3rd place.
Third.
We have the same. Third? We finished 3rd. We have the same points as Spirit, but they beat us on goal differential. Okay. So I think that to me that should give the team confidence, and also a lot of the team has been in this position before to be like, I know what playoffs is like. And even the players who joined the team this season, a lot of them have been through playoffs. So they know what it takes. A lot of the, we have a team of winners. Mm-hmm. We have a team of players who have won championships, whether World Cups, NWSL, NCAA, like we have that. So I think that is going to give us a big boost. But again, when it comes to playoffs, it's like, this is a new season for every team. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter what happened in the past. So like I said, it's beat everybody's season. Who's going to come out on top?
So Temwa won the Golden Boot.
She won Golden Boot.
Okay. So you think she has enough to lead them like to a championship, or that's still okay? How do you stop her then? Let's just say that. It's just like when we talk about A'ja Wilson, it's like, how do you slow her down? Or is it one of those things you can't stop her, but try to take care of everybody else?
It's funny. We played Kansas City in the Summer Cup championship game during this past FIFA break in San Antonio. I'm not sure why I was in San Antonio, but it was. And Chawinga scored both goals. Right. It was a 2-0. We had a handful of national team replacement players playing with us. But Chawinga came out at halftime, and it was a completely different game. Kansas City had no real threat going on once she came out.
Right.
And that's saying a lot considering we were playing at half of our strength as a team, Gotham was. So I think that when you look at Chawinga and even Banda, it's about to me, it's like somebody's got to be putting a body on her at all times. That's how
really
if you're not
physical.
going to play low block,
Yeah.
put a body on her. You got to know where she is, and you have to be understanding what the other team is trying to take advantage of, right? You're playing a high line, you have space in behind. They're going to be looking for those one-time balls to play in behind.
Yes.
So as a defensive line, you either have to be bodying her so she doesn't have a free run in behind,
Right.
or you have to be anticipating that they're going to play in behind and dropping sooner, right? And essentially absorbing the space that she could run into.
Interesting.
That's what I would say.
This is going to be interesting.
I know.
It's exciting.
It is exciting.
Let's see. Can we talk about the skills on display of Racheal
Kundananji, yeah.
Like,
on this play.
Did you see the play?
Yeah. It was I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad that wasn't me in that clip as the defender.
Yeah, that's like
because it's just, I mean, honestly, worse than getting dunked on. Like, she stands up on the ball, does a little come here, and then freaking puts the defender on skates, and it's just like
that's like a crossover and then get dunked on. Like
like break ankles type of situation, you know. So I was just happy it wasn't me. You know, like I'll
sit over here on the side.
Exactly. Happily retired over here. I loved it. That was a freaking highlight. Like, talk about some swag right there, you know. Women's college basketball kicked off on Monday. We had some games in Paris.
Hey, it was games in Paris. USC fight on. My Trojans were out there.
Yeah, but
Juju Watkins.
we got to talk about your Trojans.
Yes.
They just squeaked by.
Ooh, boy, did they. They had, last time if I remember correctly, it was like 23 turnovers. Like, I don't know if the final, but it was definitely
it's not great.
23, 24. Like,
what do you think that is? Do you think that's first game jitters?
You know, honestly, first of all, let me just say I love Juju Watkins. I think she's a phenomenal player, scorer. Her ability to put the ball in the basket, like, she is like, you can get this however you want it, off the dribble, between the legs, with the step back, the hezzy, the euro, left, right. She was blocking shots. Like, she's a good shot blocker. I mean, everything. And my but is like, it comes with growth. She reminds me a lot of Candace Parker, and not necessarily in style of play, but the idea that I feel like she's so good and talented, but you have to build trust with her, and she doesn't quite trust her teammates yet, to me.
Interesting.
And I think this is my thought. If I was coaching USC, which I'm not interested, guys, I'm just saying, Juju's going to have to trust her teammates more. Her teammates are going to have to trust her. When you get to a championship level team, you're going to find that her teammates will drive and kick, and they should always be looking for her. And then she'll find ways to always look for them.
Yes.
And then in the midst of that, she's going to score and she's going to go off, but she'll also have that trust to, like, drive and kick. And you've got to make other players around you better and let them hit some shots. It'll just open it back up more for her.
100%.
But because she's such an effective scorer, she can really beat 2 and 3 players and still be effective. So she's like, I don't need that. But at some point, you're going to need it.
Yeah.
And you need other players. So she has Kiki out there who, I mean, Kiki had a quiet, like, 22. But imagine if they really had that cohesion where that pick and roll, she's dropping it off to her. She's hitting the big on the inside. When the double team comes, she's turning, kicking it back out. Like, they're going to get there. And that all comes with trust and chemistry. And that is why they had 24 turnovers. The trust and chemistry is not there yet.
Yeah.
And they're on display in Paris. You got to give them some time. But they definitely have the pieces. I'm excited.
I mean, I feel like playing your first, imagine being a freshman at USC and your first college basketball game is in Paris. Talk about pressure and just, like, the stakes are high. It's super exciting.
Yeah, it's amazing. They got a young team, still a young team. You know, I think their coaches are doing a really good job. It's just, I think when you start to look at them and try to really break down how can they be better, they're going to have to be better together. And that trust is there. They have some really good pieces, though. I mean, they were exciting to watch. Ole Miss, which had a really nice defensive team, they were aggressive. And they had a chance to really win that game also. But I thought USC's defense was very much a more passive defense. They sort of just guarded after the ball was passed versus being dictators out there. And maybe I don't know if their personnel can be that, but I think they definitely have to improve their defensive intensity as well.
Defense wins championships.
It wins championships.
Well,
rebounding. Rebounding was nice. They did a good job rebounding.
We got to talk about one of your other good friends, Dawn, and her South Carolina.
Oh, hey.
Hey.
Yeah, I went to the game in Las Vegas.
Oh, nice.
So got a chance to see her coach up close and personal and see South Carolina. Spoke to the team.
You did? Wow.
I did.
You spoke to South Carolina.
Yeah.
Even though you're a Trojan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I am an ambassador for all women's sports.
I like that approach. Good for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
it's a good narrative. It's good branding.
No, it's true. I love these young ladies, and I'm just so proud.
True.
Yeah, I would speak to any of them. Yeah, I think it's important. But it was great.
How do you think they're going to fare this year? I mean, they're coming off a championship.
They are coming off an undefeated season, which is a lot of pressure. I don't think that they will stay undefeated just being there watching. I think they have excellent chemistry, my goodness, which is key. I think they have excellent defense. I think they miss a lot with Cardoso not being there in the middle. She's cleaned up a lot of, misses and missed layups and chippies and things like that, where they're going to have to really find a stronghold in the post. So I say that to say I think South Carolina will have another successful season. I just don't think they will be undefeated.
Okay.
And I think in some ways maybe Dawn probably doesn't want them to be undefeated. Sometimes you kind of need that loss to kind of just check yourself a little bit. And it was very close. Again, she's competitive like me. Nobody wants to lose, but I don't think they'll have an undefeated season, but I do think they'll still rise back to the top.
You talk about their culture, their chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's a Dawn thing?
Oh, for sure. I think Dawn is the kind of person who, she's such a loyal person, a great teammate. Like teammates describe you. It's that thing that's contagious where you make people want to be better, and she brings the best out of others. And I remember that that was my roommate. So my roommate, my teammate, you know what I mean? I remember her just passing me the ball, and I will dive and break my neck before I let that ball land out of bounds or before she gets a turnover because I didn't catch it.
Yeah.
And I think that's just the will that she brings is making each individual want to be at their best, and you feel like you let her down when you're not giving your all. You know what I mean? And she can live with that, with you giving her all. But if you're not, or you're not showing up, and that starts every day in practice, and I think that's the sign of just a great leader, And I think the reason why we were so close from the time I was 16, the first day I met her, is that's what we have in common. The idea that every moment we have an opportunity to win and fight. And she's 5'6" and I'm 6'5", but she played like she was 6'5", you know what I mean? And the heart that she had, and then the fight that I had, that we were just you're going to have a long day. You got two lions out here. And we just had the same fighting spirit. And she's from Philly. I'm from LA. I'm Hollywood is my nickname on the team. She's a little bit, but we just have such the same, cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
And so you can see that her team really understands that. They get that. She doesn't yell and say it, but when she gets on them, it's they get it.
Yeah.
And so she'll always be successful because of how she treats people. And I think that's important too. That individual interpersonal relationship, it really goes a long way.
It's so important. Yeah. So important. I feel like it's so impactful on the college stage.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in life in general. But
but how you treat those young women,
exactly.
as role models, she gets it. And her staff, they're really amazing. They did a great job. I'm telling you, talking to the team, I was listen, you guys got it all. You're checking all the boxes. They really do. That's
awesome.
But it comes down to the details,
Yeah.
And I don't even know if they got out rebounded, but if they did, it's because their biggest thing they have to work on is box it out. It's you got to box out.
There you go. Box out. Well, we got another player, talk about Juju, but Paige Bueckers. She's, I feel like a lot of eyes have already been on her, but will continue to be on her.
Paige is like Caitlin. She's a generational talent that can help change and elevate this game. I think if she had not had the injuries that she had, she may have, I don't know if she was on track to come out before Caitlin, but she definitely had her ability to shoot the ball and score, and her ability to pass and make players around her better. Like, she has it all. She has the dog. She has the fight in her that, you want to see. And, Gino, one thing I can say about UConn players, for all the teammates that I've had, through playing on the Sparks and USA, Gino has his players ready for the pro level in a way that I don't know if it's just the way that he talks to them, the way he coaches them, the way he teaches them, what his impact is. He has been my coach before as an assistant coach on the USA team, but I never had him as my head coach. But he does an excellent job of preparing his players to be able to, read defenses and understand how to adjust. They really deal with adversity well. So, I know a lot of people don't necessarily, if you either love UConn or you don't.
Yeah.
But I really do respect his program and his players and the teammates that I've had that have come out of there. Some of my favorite teammates. So Paige has it all. If she can stay healthy, the sky's the limit for her. I think that's probably the biggest thing. But yeah, she'll definitely be the number one pick. And then just her as a pro.
Yeah, that's going to be fun to watch.
That's going to be fun to watch. I mean, everybody, again, when they come out, they need just a little bit of time just to make the adjustment because they're coming off of a full college season and then right into the pros. It's a lot on your body, but as far as her game, nasty. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm excited for this college season because last year was pretty electric, and I think that the talent within college basketball at this moment is so high.
So many young women out there that they're changing the game, and it's going to be interesting to see if UConn can get a championship.
Yeah.
They have AZ Fudd. We talk about just a few players, but there are a lot out there. And I think the team that kind of goes under the radar a lot is Notre Dame. Notre Dame, they have some ballers. It's going to be really interesting to see. I'm just happy that so many fans have really embraced the women's game, the college game, and they're just as excited. The WNBA has exploded, obviously, in support, but so is women's college basketball. And it's been so great to see even the men talking about how much they're invested in the women's game and have no idea. They don't know a lot of players. I mean, Cooper Flagg, we know of because he's phenomenal. But a lot of people can really name off several, 10
women's college
basketball players.
Couldn't tell you
and
the guys.
I got one.
There you go. 0 for me. But this is just women's sports. So
we'll just keep it focused on the women's sports.
Exactly.
So it's exciting.
You talk about these college coaches. There's a lot of stirring of the pot, mixing up, changes happening in WNBA since the season ended in the coaching world. We have Stephanie White.
Yes.
Is now officially the coach of the Indiana Fever. What do you think about this return? We'll say?
You know what I think? I think when you have players that are excited about the coach, that's a good sign. And it seems like Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston are really excited about having Stephanie White there. I think with her going back to Indiana, she's very familiar. Lynn Dunn is there, and the management is pretty much the same, so she's worked there before. I think they're really excited about her and what she's going to be able to do. I know that I think she's a good coach. I think she's been able to have some impact on the WNBA with her defenses and how she's gotten her teams prepared and ready. I thought she had a really good team. I know they fell short, and that's going to be the interesting thing. Can she get them over the hump all the way there? And maybe it's not just her. Caitlin she has a great basketball mind. She's an excellent player. She makes players around her better. And it's going to be interesting to see what free agents and other unrestricted free agents that want to go to Indiana and play with her.
Yeah.
That's going to be the key. Who else would like to come and join her? But they have some really good pieces. Obviously, they made it to the playoffs, and I'm sure they're looking to win a championship. It's like championship or bust. And so I'm happy for them because they're happy. And that's what you look at. You look at the players and their reactions.
For sure. I think your point of will they add more free agents? Who will, what will the team look like at the start of next season is what I'm most excited about this offseason, seeing if, they bring in this coach, what are the other pieces they're going to bring in to complement and, like you said, championship or bust to actually get there.
And then a huge piece of their success is Kelsey Mitchell. And she's a free agent and she could stay.
Yeah.
They could probably coerce her to staying or, pay her the max. But there's a possibility that she may want to get out and she may want to she's a star, a bona fide star. And Caitlin takes up a huge spotlight. And so sometimes priorities, it just depends on what her experience has been. How is she feeling like she's being heard and all those things. But listen, her ability to put the ball in the basket and her defense, she plays both sides of the ball. She's excellent. And she definitely is a huge.
No, and what's interesting is that with the CBA up for renegotiation, if I'm an agent, I'm sitting with a free agent as one of my players, I'm sitting here being like, how do we negotiate a contract that makes sure we capitalize on whatever upside the CBA is going to provide that we might not be able to anticipate in this moment, but we need to be thinking ahead.
Exactly. And then ownership's important because how ownerships treat you, can play a part into it, right? You look at Las Vegas and you have someone like Mr. Davis, who takes great care of the Aces, who have a practice facility, right? Everybody now is flying their own commercial plane. So that's one of those things where everybody's able to check off the box in sort of equal play, right? Everybody gets the same thing. But those things become really important. How's the franchise going to treat you?
Yeah.
And
so many factors to consider when you're a free agent.
Absolutely.
Like, is it money? Is it professionalism of the franchise? Is it, do I want to go win a championship? Is it, do I want to be close to home, location? Like there's so many factors that go into where you want to play. Where you sign on that dotted line, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Are you Southern now?
All right. That's it.
Where are we?
Today.
Oh, that's it for everything.
That's it for
we already
today.
did this part.
Dude, we made it through.
Wow.
We did it.
We did it.
And, we got quarterfinals this weekend. Everybody tune in. First game's Friday. Yeah, when we talk again, we're going to have the semi set. 4 teams will have gone home, packed their bags, end of their season.
Gone fishing.
Exactly. Book that vacay, you know what I'm saying? And 4 teams will still be in it.
Wow.
And then after,
where are we going?
We going to Kansas City, baby.
Kansas City.
And you're going to show me how you can kick a soccer ball.
Yes.
How's tennis, by the way?
Tennis is good. We're
have you
3-0. Yeah.
3-0. That's not the first thing that you lead off here?
I mean, I don't like to toot my own horn, but we are 3-0.
Don't like to toot your own horn, but you do like to remind people that you won MVP 3 times. I'm just kidding.
Come on.
All right, that's a wrap, y'all. Be good to each other.
Be good.
Take it easy.
We'll
see you next week.
And we out.